this channel once again, and as we continue to guide you through the darkness, you shall see that even when you're alone, you may have more company than you realize.
Voices by StoryMan-Jack. Nancy woke to find her husband sleeping soundly next to her in the bed. Delight ran over her face since she hadn't expected him at home at all until next week. "Max?" she cried and snuggled up next to him, trying to cuddle. "Love," Maxwell murmured to his wife. "Sorry I woke you. I had to come home early. I think I got some kind of stomach bug down there in the swamps." He was warm. "Yeah," she said, sitting up a bit. "You feel like you have a low-grade fever at least." Max grunted. "It's what I deserve for traipsing around in the swamps to look for witches." "Most likely," she smiled. "You find anything?" He sat up a bit, his face flushed. "Yeah." He looked her in the eye, triumphant smile. "We found a ritual site and waited, and we actually got to witness a genuine voodoo ritual." He was almost excited. "Nance, they cut off the chickens' heads and everything." Nancy looked at her husband and shrugged. "Hope it was worth it," she said, shaking her head. "Looks like you're going to pay for it for a day or two at least." And yet, Max did not get better in a few days. Not in a week. He couldn't eat, he couldn't sleep, his temper grew and grew. It was unlike anything she'd ever witnessed. "We need to get you to a doctor, Max," she said to him, gently looking at the 101 temperature reading on the thermometer. "We just can't keep this fever down." Max's face reddened, and then he got a hold of himself. "Yeah." He shook his head. "Yeah, I feel horrible. I'm starting to take it out on everyone." The next afternoon, however, found them continuing on at home with some antibiotics and anti-inflammatories and little explanations from the doctors. "I just don't know what to do," she thought to herself. "Do I get a priest or call an ambulance and force them?" It was ludicrous, her train of thought. "No," a distinctly male voice said inside her head. "But why not?" she asked the voice. "It's a minor infection that they cannot find," the voice said. "A very reasonable explanation, which is why they gave you antibiotics." She nodded to herself. A long time ago, when she was no more than a child, she'd had a twin, a brother, but he had passed away, and then she'd been sent to live with strangers. They'd been 7 when they had been separated forever, but sometimes when she'd been scared throughout her life, or had a hard decision to make, she'd pretend to speak with him and try to decide what to do, where to go, how to be safe. "I know," she thought, "but Michael, I don't know what else I can do." "Just wait," the voice said, neither acknowledging nor correcting the use of her dead brother's name. "If it is an infection, which most likely explanation, then the antibiotics will kill it in a few days." Though a few more days passed, and her husband was no more than delirious, could not even wake, and making strange sounds. She was scared. Nancy felt like her whole house was filled with darkness and fear. "What do I do?" "Nothing," the voice tried to soothe. "Just need a little more time. There are still antibiotics." The voice paused. "Just finish out the treatment." Max lay in his bed with a raging fever, his sunken eyes moving wildly behind his closed eyes. His lips moved as if speaking to someone, but the sounds that came from him were alien and strange to her. Once, he'd murmured, "Black goose," in his delirium. "Michael, I'm calling an ambulance," she told the voice in her head. "No," a deeper, more guttural voice responded. "No?" The voice that sounded like her brother said just after, as if in question. She stopped, her entire mind frozen. She felt her body twist and faced her tormented husband who floated above his bed, above the sheets and blankets that he had just been shivering under a second before. "Who's here?" she asked, a will she didn't know she had giving her enough backbone to power her voice. Nancy Whitmere felt her brain, no, her mind, wrench. It wrenched sideways and upside down. It felt in motion and pain, though never physically moved. "We are legion, for we are many," the voices cried inside her mind, "and we own this vessel." "No," she murmured behind her eyes as her body sat down on the floor. "No, I'm in control. I'm me." And she fought. "Always we've waited for your blood to call, witchling," the voices said in the darkness of her mind, her body closing her eyes without her will doing it for her. Witchling, she wondered, whirling, finding herself standing under a spotlight on a concrete floor surrounded by nothing but darkness inside her own mind. "She doesn't know," they never said. "Even her love." He knew and she didn't. "They're monsters." "She doesn't know. How could she not?" The voices murmured, separated inside her mind as if they were a group of individuals before they came together once more. "Descended down through the ages, wishling. Promised us on the day of birth with thine own blood, sacrificed before breath even drawn." The thing or things called itself Legion told her. "I was adopted," she wailed. "I'm going crazy is all. This is not real. I've just caught what Max has." She was screaming out loud, yelling as her body sat calmly with her eyes closed. "Foolish woman. Witchling thinks she's free. It matters not. She was branded. She is ours. The blood was given, her brother taken." The voices became discordant again. "Already, your blood and your body, we've turned against thee," the many voices combined to say as her eyes snapped open, and she found herself standing over the dying and bleeding form of her husband, of the man she had loved. Became discordant again. Already, glistening with thick, syrupy blood held in her hand. The scream of rage and pain and sorrow that came from Nancy's voice and throat held power, the power of loss and rage and pain of a shredded soul, one belonging to a witch whose power was in her blood. The power, the magic, the hunger. She's ours. Yes, ours. She knows now. It is ours. The hunger, her magic, her power given to us freely. The voices cried at her power as she felt herself released. "Where do I go?" she thought, slipping in the blood. "You can go nowhere," the voice that was Legion said. She froze, her mind speeding on maniacally. Was her husband breathing? Could she still save him? "Nowhere can you go. Think thee that this man found ritual? Think a charlatan such as this saw real witches? A pet of ours?" The voices crowed. "Lust, sin, envy, hate, lust, sex, blood," the voices said, discordant again. "He found a woman who took his money. A woman he paid for sex. A woman who gave him to me. A woman who led me to thee. A pet, a witch, one of thine sisters." The voices laughed, coming together again. "No," Nancy railed once again, locked behind her own body. "Let her watch. Gleam. More blood victims, more pain. More flesh, more." The voices disconnected again. "Oh yes," they said, coming together one last time. "We will just go. The neighbors are home." Excitement plain in the sounds. "Oh no," she thought. Sitting locked behind her own eyes, a being of many in charge of her existence, locked inside her own subconscious as she watched the news. And now 15 victim murder spree, the anchor was saying. Mrs. Nancy Whitmore is wanted and considered extremely dangerous. This was police earlier. Do not approach this woman. Call the police and get behind a locked door, the spokesman for the police said. It seems Mrs. Whitmore found her husband and sunk them both under a mountain of debt and was spending what little left on prostitutes in various cities. So that was her motive. Tears flowed down the woman's cheeks. But other than that, her body responded to her thoughts not at all.
Man, this is fun,
The voices said.
Yes, blood, lust, pain, fear. Yes, fear, pain, blood.
And so the darkness claimed one of its own, a soul given, and to power the will of the dark's purpose, which is chaos, though the world should burn.
We release this channel back to you until the night falls again. Nox Vini, fear the night.